Quoted by Constance M. Grieve, the end of an old era and the dawn of the new. For some, it was time to cast off the conventions of the past and look forward to a bright future. Art Nouveau rejected historicism and revivals, celebrating instead the beauties of nature and the joys of present. Yet, for all its sunny colors and fresh forms, Art Nouveau also carried an undertone of melancholy, a whiff of decadence, and a hint of unhealthy eroticism, the end of civilization as well as a beginning. Hello everyone, my name is Napatsorn Yanviriya, and today I will be taking you all on an Art Nouveau excursion. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So let me mention about my presentation overview. I will be mentioning about what is Art Nouveau, location, socio-historical context, and characteristic of Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau in fine arts and designs, Art Nouveau in architecture, as well as the KISS analysis and Casa Batlló analysis. So let's start with, what is Art Nouveau? The term Art Nouveau first appeared in 1880s in the Belgian journal called Locaton to describe the work of Locaton, 20 painters and sculptors seeking from reform through art. Locaton, like much of the artistic community throughout Europe and America, responded to the leading 19th century theoreticians such as French Gothic Revival architect Eugène-Emmanuel Viollet-le-Duc and British art critic John Ruskin, who advocate the unity of all the arts, arguing against segregation between the fine arts of painting and sculpture, so-called lesser decorative arts. Deeply influenced by the socially aware teachings of William Morris and the arts and craft movement, Art Nouveau designers endeavored to achieve the synthesis of art and craft, and further the creation of the spirituality uplifting Gesamtkunstwerk, total work of art, encompassing a variety of media. And let's move on to location, socio-historical context, and characteristic of Art Nouveau. Well, the period of 1880 to World War I was a time of unprecedented prosperity in Europe and the United States. Despite the interludes of the economic depression in the second half of the 19th century, industrialization spread from Great Britain across Western Europe, bringing prosperity to its wake. The British Empire was at its zenith, and France, Germany, and Belgium had joined Britain as great imperial powers. Economic growth appeared to be unlimited. Western Europe and the United States witnessed the development of Art Nouveau, or we can call it New Art, taking inspiration from unruly aspects of the natural world. Art Nouveau influenced art and architecture, especially in the applied arts, graphic work, and illustration. Strenuous line and whiplash curves were derived, in part of botanical studies and illustration of deep-sea organisms such as those German biologists Ernest Heinrich Haeckel and Kunstformen der Natur, or Art Forms in Nature. Other publications including Floriated Ornament by Gothic revivalist Augustus Welby Northmore Pugin, and The Grammar of Ornament by British architect and theorist Owen Jones, advocate nature as the primary source of inspiration for a generation of artists seeking to break away from the old art styles. Well, Art Nouveau was portrayed through many kinds of art and mediums, such as fine art, architecture, interior design, furniture design, ceramic design, textile design, and more. And today I will be talking about how Art Nouveau is being featured in fine arts and designs, and also in architecture, and also sharing my analysis on some interesting works in the last part of the video too. So let's start with the fine arts and designs. Well, although of its artists and patrons espoused socialist principle, Art Nouveau actually was a style for the elite. Its individualistic designs carry a high price tag. The audience was both well-to-do and well-educated, so publications became an excellent method for disseminating the style. Magazines and books proved to be an ideal medium for the design unity, a principle central to Art Nouveau aesthetic. Just as an ideal building as a single designer was responsible for architecture, interior, and furnishings, the ideal publication was unified in design, typography, and illustration. So, for example, Alphonse Mucha, now famous for his posters, but he also designed jewelry. Or Emile Gall produced furniture as well as glass. In Britain, architects such as C.F.A. Voysey or Arthur Haggett MacMurdo, whose buildings belong to art and craft rather than Art Nouveau, they also designed wallpapers, furniture, textile, and graphics with the characteristically sinuous and seductive line which is the characteristic of the Art Nouveau. Well, in the 1890s, designers themselves sponsored journals showcasing the Art Nouveau style. More conventional magazines such as Harper's Bazaar and Century magazine commissioned covers from Will Bradley, Maxfield Parrish, and Eugene Grasset. Also, the Norwegian painter Edvard Munch used Art Nouveau's flowing curves to express eroticism and horror, as we can see in the screen. And also, Vienna Gustav Klimt combined sensuous the linearity with abstract jewel-like patterns, which I will be mention about his work later in the video too. So let's move on to Art Nouveau in architecture. Well, Art Nouveau patrons were beneficiaries of industrialization and colonialism, while the aristocracy and hauteur bourgeois the revivals, newly rich manufacturers, merchants, and former colonials embraced the new style. The Brussels architect Victor Horta designed the first full-blown Art Nouveau building, the Tassel House, in 1893, for the engineer who had laid out the Trans-Siberian Railroad. Other clients included progressive lawyers and a manufacturing chemist. In Spain, Antoni Gaudi's patrons were second-generation merchants and industrialists, proponents of Catalan independence. Italian Art Nouveau took root in the rapidly industrializing North. Conservatism and long-established wealth may explain why English architects avoided Art Nouveau, although designers of decorative arts did not. As I've mentioned, Art Nouveau is more like a decorative art that can be featured in a variety of work. So today I prepared two interesting works for you all. The first work that I would like to mention is the painting called The Kiss by Gustav Klimt. Well, let's take a closer look at The Kiss. Well, the embracing couple takes center stage in the composition, with a dark and flat golden background framing them on either side. At the feet of the couple, we can see the edge of the flowery middle beneath the woman's bare feet. A flowing yellow dress decorating organic floral patterns and circular shapes encapsulates the woman. The floral continue to her hair, and the man wears a crown of ivy. A similarly colored robe with subtle swirls and geometric patterns is draped over the man's shoulder. We cannot see the face of the man as he is bent over. Actually, in Klimt's work, he usually don't show the face of the man. Instead, he focuses on showing the beauty of the woman instead. Cradling. Well, he cradling the woman's face between his hand and kissing her on the cheek. The woman's eyes are softly closed, with her face turned up towards the kiss and one of her arms draping around his neck. However, there are several theories about the intended identities of the man and the woman wrapped in a loving embrace, if they really love each other, or the woman is forced to be kissed. Well, we need to explore the historical context in which Klimt painted this controversial and beautiful piece. Gustav Klimt had an avant-garde approach to art and was a member of the secessionist movement. Klimt was also a pioneer of a European art genre called Symbolism. Symbolism shares similarities with Art Nouveau and arts and craft movements, particularly the mystical motive and a personal approach to art. Klimt was painting the kiss during his golden phase, which means it's a popular phase of him, but actually, golden phase, he used gold a lot in his artwork. Well, as I mentioned, In his golden phase, during this time, he also painted several portraits of fashionable Viennese women, including Adele Bloch-Bauer. Klimt treated the human figures within these paintings as a two-dimensional, and they were surrounded by flat, brightly composed, and highly ornamental decoration, which you can see these kind of styles a lot in Art Nouveau art. Let's see the inspiration and the background of the kiss. After he visited Ravenna in Italy, where he saw the Byzantine mosaics by Saint Vital, Klimt composed the kiss. It is possible to see the Byzantine influence in many of Klimt's paintings during his golden period. For Klimt, the two-dimensional nature of the mosaics only enhanced the brilliant effect of the gold. Many art historians believe that the Byzantine influence may reflect Klimt's movement toward more stability by using inorganic and static forms. The kiss is the height of Klimt's golden phase, alongside the Tree of Life and the Beethoven frieze. This piece completes an allegory representing the union of erotic and spiritual love and connection. Klimt frequently used gold in his artwork, which gives the uniqueness and the beauty in his work. However, back in time, he got a lot of negative impacts from society because gold is related with religion, and his gold-colored techniques adopted from Byzantine art, combined with emotion and eroticism style, may seem like he contaminated Christianity. Next work is an apartment called Casa Batlló by Antoni Gaudí. The construction of Batlló means a new climax in the work of Antoni Gaudí. The work is a tour de force of Art Nouveau architecture and craftsmanship, combining marble, glass mosaics, glazed tiles, mosaics, and sculpture. The building contains numerous references to Catalan culture. Gaudí told one of his workers that the house was a reference to the story about Sant Jordi, or Saint George and the dragon. This means that the house can be seen as a metaphor for the body of the dragon, and the roof being the back of the dragon, and the balconies being the skulls of the people that the dragon has eaten. Organic architecture. The building goes up against traditional architectural thinking. It is far from the traditional box. Here, for the first time, Gaudí creates a radically different architecture, inspired by organic forms. There are virtually no right angle, no organic, geometric shapes such as twisted arcs, parabolic, and hyperbolic paraboloids became dominant. For Gaudí, nature is ultimately a picture of divine creation. Nature is the work of God, and thus nature is like an open book that every architect should study. As Gaudí put it, Casa Batlló uses glazed tile and undulating movement to the facade for the first time. This was quite an iconic work of Antoni Gaudí. As I have mentioned, since Art Nouveau in the fine art and design throughout architecture, we can see that the characteristic of Art Nouveau focus on using more like curved lines and whiplash curves. And also, they changed this Art Nouveau movement, kind of switch from focusing like three-dimensional like the past. They switched to more like a flat color and two-dimensional art, which creates more like soft and organic effects to the art. And as you can see that this art movement can be featured in a lot of mediums like illustration, posters, paintings, ceramics, sculpture, tiles, architecture, interior, and even textiles, which all of these featuring works of Art Nouveau has inspired me a lot to explore about it more. And if you all also interested and want to know more about Art Nouveau, you can check out some books that I've read. I that I put in my bibliography. It's Art Nouveau by Constance M. Grieve and Modern Art by Taschen Bibliotheca Universalis. Yeah, and I hope that this video can be beneficial for anyone who is interested in Art Nouveau. And thank you a lot for listening to my video. Thank you.